Hi guys, my name's Naina and I'm here to talk to you today about hair care as per Ayurveda, as well as the Kuntal Care Hair Spa by Amrutam. So having healthy hair is a great way to feel confident in terms of when we're trying to feel beautiful or beautify ourselves. But I have to mention now that beauty does come from within, and this is especially true when we're discussing it with Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda looks to restore balance and harmony within our whole being, and that resultantly, makes you flower from the inside, and that's when natural beauty can shine through. I think it's really nice to have ways to look after your hair, but don't forget that it comes from within. So how you look after your internal body, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, will result in you having more healthier features, which will make you feel more beautiful. So let's talk about hair care as per Ayurveda and a little bit about the doshas and their effect on our hair. So first, let's talk about constitution. So depending on your Ayurvedic constitution, you might have different hair types. So in Ayurveda, if you don't already know, you have an individual constitution, and it's made up of the three doshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And it's basically a combination of all these elements within you, and it's your unique makeup. So if you're more predominant in the Vata dosha, which means that you have more air and ether elements within you, then your hair will tend to be more curly and frizzy. If you're of the Pitta constitution, you will have more fire and water elements within you, and that means that your hair will be more straight and have a tendency to be more greasier. If you're of the Kapha constitution, then you tend to be in the middle between the two. Your hair's not too dry, it's not too greasy, it's quite wavy in its form and generally quite healthy. Now let's talk a little bit about what happens when things go out of balance and how Ayurveda can help. So what I really love about Ayurveda and what I love explaining to people about is how the mental and the physical are so interlinked, and it's really beautifully explained when I talk about hair care and things to do with the scalp. So I'm going to talk to you about each dosha, what happens in the body and the scalp particularly when it goes out of balance, and then we're going to also correlate that to a mental aspect that links into the way that you treat yourself on an internal level, which can result in the scalp problem too. Okay, so let's talk about Vata dosha. So Vata dosha is elements of air and ether. So when this dosha is out of balance, it can lead to the hair becoming very unruly, frizzy and dry. So in the scalp, this will lead to problems like itching of the scalp, perhaps a very dry scalp. But I mean, Vata dosha basically enhances the effect of the other doshas. So if the other doshas aren't in balance and then the Vata's out of balance too, it's going to enhance their effects. So on a subtle level, the Vata dosha, when out of balance, can lead to you feeling perhaps a little bit anxious, a bit cold. The blood supply to certain places is not very strong. So when we're talking about the head area, it can lead to things like anxiety, confusion, a bit of a weak memory, and perhaps circulating thoughts that so Vata is like the flow of energy, and when it's flowing nicely, everything has its order. But when there's like a block or it's disrupted, you can imagine like the flow of energy might get stuck. And if we think about this with our thoughts, we might have a thought that comes and it just gets stuck, and we get stuck into this whirlwind of thoughts, and that's like anxiety, basically. So let's talk about now the Pitta dosha. So when the Pitta dosha is out of balance, really the Pitta dosha is the main culprit when it comes to hair care, because when the Pitta dosha is too much and too high, when there's too much heat in the scalp, it basically leads to hair loss. And this is when the hair can fall out. This is where it can lead to premature greying and also a bit of lacklustre and shine, basically, because the hair is a bit greasy and lank. So Pitta has a liquid quality, basically, And when that liquid quality is too much in the scalp because there's too much Pitta, then it can't hold on, like the hair shaft cannot hold on to the hair. Basically, the root doesn't have the stay. It's too slippery because of that liquid component. And this is what makes the hairs fall out so easily. Because of this is where this saying comes of, oh, you know, I'm going to lose my hair because of the stress in my life, you know, and there's like early balding and greying because of stressful events. And it's because when there's too much heat in the head, this is when it leads to lots of scalp problems. So if there's hair thinning and hair loss, you can normally attribute it to the Pitta dosha being too much, especially in the scalp. So on a subtle level, you can already guess what I'm going to say. It's linked to stress, it's linked to criticism, judgment, perhaps being too hard on yourself, and generally having this frustrated, intense energy within you. But I mean, don't be disheartened. I think we all suffer from that a little bit nowadays because we're under so much pressure in society, right? Also, our diets can be highly acidic too, so this is something to look out for. You don't have to be outwardly expressing Pitta energy in terms of like, I don't shout at people, I'm not angry, I don't judge people, but do you do it to yourself? That's a bigger question to ask. Now let's talk about the Kapha dosha. So in terms of it going out of balance and its effect on the scalp, dandruff. So you wouldn't normally think about this because you think of dandruff as like skin, dryness and itching, and you would think Vata and Pitta, but actually it's related to a Kapha imbalance because dandruff is a sign of excess mucus in the body. So if you watched my video on women's health, the previous video, you would have seen that I spoke about this briefly too. So when there's an imbalance of Kapha in the body, an excess of mucus, it results in a lot of hormonal issues, and dandruff can be a clear sign of this. So when the scalp is just having that sort of excess skin and itchiness and build up, it could be excess Kapha dosha. But on a subtle level, when the Kapha's out of balance, it can lead to feelings of attachment and like stickiness and possibly a bit of greed to like not wanting to let go of things. Also, interestingly, when there's an imbalance of Kapha in the head particularly, it doesn't allow us to have a clear view on life, and we tend to view things through the memories of our past experiences, and even before that, past lives and ancestral. So we tend to start living in a pattern that we don't even realise it, and this is when the Kapha is a bit too much in the head. So by releasing that, by balancing the Kapha, we can start to see life a bit more clearly as it is. But another thing to think about when we're looking at hair problems is things like your digestion. So if you're not absorbing nutrients and food properly and there's a build-up of toxins in the body, it can also show in your hair is in terms of hair loss and hair fall. Now let's talk about how Ayurveda can help these things. So I'm going to relate this to the ingredients found in the Kuntal hair spa by Amrutam. Because it does have amazing ingredients in there that basically act on all of these doshas that I've mentioned to help balance it out. So it contains Bhringaraj, which is a herb in Ayurveda which is specifically for hair loss, premature greying, and it really promotes hair growth. So it's a wonderful herb. You can probably find that they recommend this oil on the scalp for women that are suffering with hair loss. So Bhringaraj is very good for balancing the Vata and the Kapha dosha. So the Kuntal hair spa also contains Amla. So Amla is a fruit that is super cooling and is really, really good to release the Pitta dosha. So Amla is also one of the ingredients in Triphala, which is also found in this hair spa. And Triphala is like tridoshic, it balances all the doshas and helps to cool the scalp down. Now, two of my favourite ingredients, Jatamamsi and Brahmi, they are found in this hair spa. And what I love about Ayurveda is that these two herbs are actually for the mind. So even though you're applying it to your scalp in a topical way, these herbs actually work on a subtle level with the mind. So, and interestingly, these two herbs work synergistically, so that means that they work together to improve their effect. So Jatamamsi and Brahmi are very good for improving memory, understanding and intelligence. So they're very good to create like a clarity in the mind and see clearly and balance out any disturbances in that. Some more lovely ingredients it has is neem and eucalyptus oil. So neem is super good for the hair, like as an antiseptic, and again, very cooling. And eucalyptus oil is very good for Kapha dosha. So the ingredients in this hair spa essentially reduce that Kapha, balance the Vata, and reduce the Pitta dosha. And it's got a lovely cooling effect on the scalp. So what's really nice about things like this is that Ayurvedic head massage is a ritual. Like normally, traditionally in Indian homes, a head massage was so normal to do because it's such a beneficial thing for the body. To apply something to the scalp is super cooling. It increases the blood flow blood supply to the brain. It's very relaxing for the body. If you do it with oil, that's super beneficial too. So there's so many reasons why a scalp massage is so good. And if you can include this hair spa or any type of oil basically into your hair routine, I mean this is really good because it's got all the herbs in it, but if you can include any type of act of massaging your scalp, making it a ritual a couple of times a week, applying it, leaving it for a while, maybe leaving it overnight, and then washing it off the next day, you're just doing wonders. Not just for your hair on a beauty level, but for your internal body. So you start relaxing, taking the time to look after yourself. You're massaging your head, so you're having a new, you can just forget your worries and take it away. Relax, cool everything down. When I apply this is one of the things I love. Like it just makes my head feel super cool, and immediately I'm like, oh, like just relax and at ease. And then the result of that is like, oh, my hair's come out really nice the next day, and it just all adds up together in like a bigger picture. So I hope that was a little bit of an insight into hair care as per Ayurveda, and I'm going to mention it again that beauty comes from within, so fix the inside as well as the outside. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please write into the Amrutam website and they'd be happy to answer any queries. Otherwise, if you've got the hair spa, enjoy your ritual and join me for the next video where I'm going to talk about how to actually apply the hair spa.